Today is May the 6th, 2022. This is Speak On It. Mitchell Curran Team is the nonprofit. My name is Malik. Today we're going to get straight to the meat of the situation. Once again, in my opinion, the Negro find itself in the midst of chaos and confusion. There's a lot of talk about Roe versus Wade. And I know that a Negro like me don't supposed to have nothing to say about that. But you don't determine that. You know, one of the things I heard is this, that 38% of those getting abortions is that slave descendant female. And they said that she has most to lose. I want you to think about the misdirection and the genocide. I just want you to think for a minute. It's my body. I do what I want to do with it. Yeah, okay, you're right. And then they said that the next most endangered group was the Hispanics. But that's a lie. They only account for 21%. And they said that the WASP, white Anglo-Saxon females, now you know they don't use that word no more. They used that word when I was a boy. Now they just call them white. But back then, they made it clear. You didn't hear white, you heard white Anglo-Saxon females. You heard the words, just like you hear now, LGBTQ, you heard WASP. That's what you heard. Just like you don't want us to say N-I-G-G-E-R, they said WASP. I'm gonna give you a little history. Because see, you're a little bit off course here. Now, it's interesting. Now, it ain't no joke, so they say, that the WASP people seem to be having problems reproducing. Their numbers are declining. Now, there's a lot of conversation. I read it in African traditional books. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about it many a times as it relates to, some things, but I ain't gonna get into that because, I know you don't want to hear all that, so I ain't gonna give it to you. But it seemed to be true. And they spoke about the browning of America way back in the 90s. Recently, they talked about it before, but recently it was a big thing. So now we are into that. They can't say black unless they say brown. But the only people do that are the misdirected descendants of slaves here in America. So now we are in a situation. The other people, they just threw them in. They don't know how many of them it is. You know it's 38% black, 33% WASP, and 21% Hispanic. You can see the contradiction already. Hispanics really ain't got nothing to do with this. It's between the WASP and those female descendants of those, I don't know which group of slaves. Because the Negro really know better than abortions. They do. They do. And back in the day, when a girl got pregnant out of wedlock, if the family or the girl didn't come up with a shotgun or whatever and make do hook up with her, okay, they sent her somewhere and she came back when the baby was here or they gave the baby to somebody else. But as far as killing their baby, no, that was an ancestral thing. So now everybody talking about this leak, distraction. You ain't leaked this. Ain't nobody leaked this. They ain't. Things are too serious now for that. This is deliberate. And I want to just be clear with this. Very clear. The only one foolish enough to be about 13 or 14% of this population in America is the so-called Negro. But yet, that female makes up 38% of the killing of her own body. Or it's my body. Well, heifer, if it's your body, keep your legs closed and you don't have to go around committing Genocide. It's a simple matter. They got all type of preventive things. But I'm listening to them on the radio and other places where they think they are so important and so educated. No, that ain't education. That's foolishness. Your body, it was your body until you laid there and you got popped off by dude. Once you got popped off by dude, it's your body and the baby's body and dude word or recommendation. But if you still want to do that, that's on you. But I hear, and matter of fact, I know what some of them do. Some of these females done had a dozen or more abortions. They use abortion as birth control. But they got that from what? Planned Parenthood. They brought these new buildings into the Negro community. Brought these white women into those buildings, making 6 figures and above, to tell black women how not to get pregnant, or to tell them where they could go if they did to get an abortion. But now white woman ain't really got that issue, because she don't seem to be doing too much producing no way. Plus, they got all these damn test tubes. They don't have to have all that. They can just go in there and order one, say, okay, give me a blue eye, a gray eye, and I think I want him to have a little nappy hair too. Make him look like he might have a little something in him. So you're really talking to the Negro. You really want the Negro to keep being stupid. So you got all of them running out here running their mouth. Forget about it. If you want to get an abortion, that's your business. But you shouldn't have to get an abortion. You shouldn't. You should have had enough sense that as a human being, if you're going to get pregnant, you should have already known that that was not your body at that point. At that point that you know you pregnant, that's me saying that. I don't know what point you want to deal with it. You know it ain't just you that you're dealing with. Well, I need to get me some money, so I'm going to tell him I'm pregnant. So now you tax the man for the next 6 months and tell him you're pregnant, and then when you get through with him, you say, oh, I miscarried. You don't want to tell him you aborted it. Because you know when you tell a Negro male that you think about an abortion, even if he's a dog, as you call him, he get a little bit what? Soggy. He do. No, I don't want you killing my baby. Now, if he's a real dog, you tell me, I didn't tell you to have it. I don't want it. That's because you was a booty call. But if you anything to him, he don't want you to do that. He don't. And he'll try to rear up. But if you insist, he'll go into the guilt trip. And he might give you a little piece of money. He might. But he's going to be monitoring you all the time. So you're going to go buy something that'll make your belly swell up. You do. I know the games. I see the games. I hear the games. On the radio the other night, a lady called all the time. She's a full-grown woman in her 50s. She said one of her best friends done had at least a half a dozen. Now, this is a full-grown grandmother. So don't be thinking I'm lying. I'm just telling you what you're doing. And all I'm saying is that Wade versus Roe and all of that, that's cool. That's their issue. But it ain't got nothing to do with you. Negroes know that we have no business killing our children in or out of the womb. And it's your child, once dude and you get in that position, and you all are not doing what you need to do to protect yourself, you know what the outcome might be. And at that point, that you all know the outcome might be that, and the outcome become what you know it could be, you ain't got nothing to say it ain't your body. That's God's body. You are just a carrier. That's my opinion. And you got yours. But genocide affects all of us that are descendants from slaves. Play these people's propaganda, brother. Amari, we're going to go with this Collins woman, then we're going to listen to this Clinton woman. The state of Mississippi
has asked the Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade. The court slated to hear arguments in the fall. You said to me that you didn't think Neil Gorsuch would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. You told my colleague Dana Bash you didn't think that Brett Kavanaugh would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now there's a third Trump appointee on the court, Amy Coney Barrett, so there's a 6-3 conservative majority. Are you still confident that the Supreme Court will protect Roe v. Wade?
Well, I realize it's always hazardous to predict what's going to happen, but if you look at the Roberts Court and how it has ruled, there were a lot of naysayers on the left that said they would never hold up the Affordable Care Act. They did. They said they would never hold up same-sex marriages. Neil Gorsuch, the Supreme Court Justice, wrote the decision on banning discrimination in the workplace. So I think that a lot of people on the left and pundits have been wrong about how the court has respected precedent. We'll have to see. I will say that I don't think the amicus briefs are going to influence this court. I think they will look at precedent and reach their decision. I would also note that I have voted for 6 of the 9 justices on the court, including some of the most liberal ones as well as the more conservative ones.
Now, I hear Negroes still running around trying to blame Trump. Man, go somewhere and shut up. You blame Trump for all your problems. Your problem right now is the leadership you chose. Period. That's how the game works. Whoever's in the seat, that's who the problem is. So stop talking about what Trump did, what Trump didn't do. No, that ain't got nothing to do with it. It's the media playing on your Negro gullibility. Because, I mean, you know, you choose to be gullible. These people got you running for everything. Every time something come up, they got these daggone so-called black females running out there, running their daggone mouth, talking about all of these things. Come on, sister, it's bigger things for you to be talking about. It really is. Everybody knows it's your body. Ain't nobody trying to question that. All I'm saying is that once it happens, you forfeit that until it's over with. But you know that. But then I heard the other day, so-called big shot preachers, you know, they pathetic. They're trying to sit there and talk about their political position in their moral position as so-called preachers. I mean, it sounded so
Hillary
foolish.
Clinton.
I understand this, according to the preacher. But over here, I understand that. Dude, how can you understand killing God's creation unless there is a threat to the woman's life, health, safety? And if there's incest or rape or all of that, those are different circumstances. I would never be so bold as to say if an incest situation occurred and woo-woo, or if a rape occurred, woo-woo, I wouldn't. But I would say this. You don't know what, now I'm going to use your preaching stuff that you use to raise people and damn people to hell through guilt before now. You stood in the pulpit and you damned people to hell for foolishness. And now it's changed and the preacher has changed. It ain't fact to those that are dead. Some folks would say, well, if that happened, there was a purpose. God had a reason. So just go on and have the baby. And if they had good sense, they'd give you a little allowance for that. And let so-and-so raise it. I wouldn't say you raised it, because you don't want to look at the memory. You don't want to see that. If you was raped, you surely don't want to see that. But they would say, that might have been God's way of doing this. So they say, let Miss Jones them have it. You see? That's what they would do. Versus kill it because you can. Kill it. Let us kill it. No, you ain't killing yours. Your religion, if you believe in Catholicism, from what I understand, they don't uphold that. And most other religions, they ain't letting you do all of that. Only the 38%. Yeah, they got the most to lose? I don't think so. Right now, they the most that's losing. Run this Clinton woman. She always got something to say about something.
For her first interview since that leaked draft opinion, she says the consequences of overturning Roe v. Wade would go beyond abortion rights.
This is about controlling women. This is about turning the clock back on half the population of our country.
In the 2016 campaign, Donald Trump made it clear he would nominate justices who would overturn Roe v. Wade. Did you imagine it would happen this quickly?
I warned about it in the campaign. I could see that the man I was running against would literally do anything to get the votes of the extreme faction of the Republican Party who were willing to totally upend precedent and deny women their rights. So I did warn about it, but you know, it's hard to warn in the abstract. And I think a lot of people would say, well, that'll never happen. No, but nobody will do that. This opinion is dark. It is incredibly dangerous, and it is not just about a woman's right to choose. It is about much more than that. And I hope people now are fully aware of what we're up against, because the only answer is at the ballot box to elect people who will stand up for every American's rights. And any American who says, look, I'm not a woman, this doesn't affect me, I'm not black, that doesn't affect me, I'm not gay, that doesn't affect me. Once you allow this kind of extreme power to take hold, you have no idea who they will come for next.
It was nearly 30 years ago when Hillary Clinton famously said that phrase. And today it's led to this, the opening of the first ever global embassy for
All right, that's
women.
enough of her,
Elise
Amara. She made
Nelson
her
is the
point.
president and CEO of the
Now, would you
nonpartisan Vital
find Minister
Voices. But sir,
Farrakhan where he's saying about the status, and I give her, that's the first thing I ever heard her say that I almost liked, that she spoke black in a way that, you know, although, you know, she just running her mouth.
Being a citizen of the United
Let the minister tell you who you are. And then see what she's saying, and do that include you, 38%. All right, brother.
Not now, nor have you ever been a citizen of the United States of America. You are a slave to white America.
That's the truth of it.
I know this hurts.
That's the truth of it.
It bothers me to hear you crying how you're an American, but they treat you like a slave. It bothers me that you are willing to fight and die for something that is not willing to sacrifice nothing for you. It bothers me to hear you say, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of tyranny. Of thee I sing. Land of white father's pride. But land where my fathers died. Who will help the widow's son? 'Cause sometimes we feel like a motherless child, a long, long way from home. How can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? They that carried us away captive require of us a song. Nobody can sing the songs of Zion like us. Sing, sing, sing for us, Negroes. Make us laugh, Negroes. So I'll pay Cedric the entertainer. I'll pay the comedians big money to make me laugh while the masses of the people cry. You're in bad shape. Very bad shape.
All right, Brother Amara. When
The
you can,
richest
if you
slave
can,
that ever
but you
was.
see if you find that piece. But before you do, let's think for a second. Where dude got tackled on stage. Now it's there, but I'm a little hesitant because I don't want to run into the fact that we mess up our presentation showing dude, the entertainer, being tackled on stage. But this, you know, I don't know if this is open, but if you think we can get away with it, do it. If not, that piece where this girl is going for prom and she's stepping out of the hearse, out of a coffin, that would be the next piece. But if you think we can get away with whatever this comedian name is, run this, and it's only to show people, once again,
Tackle
what's
video.
happening.
Producers that hip hop has ever presented, the mighty man Lil. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for hip hop history.
Now, Mara, everybody done heard what that's
I
about.
am going to kill that.
Now, they want to keep using and referring to the Will Smith, Chris Rock incident. But that, what you just saw, is part of the slave mentality. But now what's happening is that people, now we won't use that one at all because I would like to use that piece I just saw, but those are African pieces, and the American Negro was not yet mature enough to understand what was going on. But he talks about being a king and a queen. He should see how things really work in Africa. You talking about a class system? That's a class. Hold it there, right there, Omari, and we're gonna come back to that. But don't use no audio on that. This dude got thrown down on stage doing his presentation. That's crazy. People moved on him, laid hands on him, and helped the situation by letting him know you don't do that. But you see, that's what we are. That's entertainment. So these are things that are important to us now, we think. But what's important should be looking at and listening to things similar, if not, that Minister Farrakhan is talking about. What Minister Farrakhan is saying is that the Negro has never been a citizen. And I agree, we haven't. We've always been property. And we still act like we property. You understand? You would tell your man, this is my body, but you wouldn't dare tell a white man or a white woman that it's your body, it's your brain. You only use that when you want to rear up. You know what I'm saying? But this thing here where you looking at that, well, people do what they want to do. But ain't nobody's body their body. It just ain't. It's not. I don't know how you even thought that. Whether you believe in God as it relates to the scripture dealing with so-called Islam, Christianity, or not. Or whether you one sort of like me that understand that God and nature are probably the same creative forces and all of the other things that go with that. But the body was given for a reason. Whether you like the reason or not, whether you were chosen to be successful or whether you were chosen to be afflicted, whether you were chosen to be a slave as we have experienced it or you were chosen to be a ruler. That body came. You can say it through evolution. You can say this lie that somehow or another somebody molded some dirt and it might be the truth and they blew into it and here you are. Or you can say that when you and he laid down, that's how it's done. But that process for the Negro has to be more than a manipulative con by the WASP. It has to be more than that. Because you're the only one that's foolish. You got 38%. The next group, the WASP, 33%. The Hispanics, 21%. Don't you see something wrong with that? Why you always got the biggest percent in negativity? Huh? That's because you fall for that. Stop letting them divide the black man and the black woman, the Negro man and the Negro woman with these so-called democratic platforms. Because the Democrat don't care no more about you than the Trumpcrats or Republicans and all them other people. At the end of the day, you're nothing but what the minister said. A pun to laugh at, a pun to use, a pun to slave. No, I ain't being negative. I'm being for real. Somebody got to be for real with you now. Because I hear you so-called middle class. Because on the radio, I be real careful because I know at any given point, them big shot Negroes in Chicago, they say, you got to get this nigga out of here. He's talking too much reckless. So I do a little different. Here, I can't say too much because, you know, these little gadgets they got on this so-called social media and these other things, whether they're human or computers, they censor me more than they censor anything I ever seen. But one thing I know they don't seem to censor are these foul-mouthed, foul-acting creatures that's saying all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Smoking all type of stuff, killing all type of people. I ain't never said nothing to suggest or indicate that. So if you want to call this presentation negative, that's your prerogative. But this thing about it's your body, no, it ain't just your body. It ain't. And no, it's not your conversation only. Men scared to talk because they scared to say, no, you wrong, Slick. It ain't your body. It's God's body. It's the baby's body. You should have thought about that before you laid there. Period. Ain't nothing else to say. They got millions of ways for you to prevent it. But then you want to get it and then holler, it's my body. That's for control. Clinton said it was for her people to control women. Get out of here. That white woman controlled the white man. And that black woman, you running around here trying to act like the black man control you. That's the biggest lie ever. Might be a few black men that got y'all under check, but for the most part, black man, he been henpecked. He don't control nothing. You tell him you ain't gonna give him no rhythm, he's a toy. So that ain't your fight. You already controlled him. It's already your body. Now you got him acting like a lapdog. But he think it's all right. But who controlled him? You got him on the string. Deal with what you got. And let your ancestors come back here through your body, which is their body. You understand? Every time you do that, you kill one of your ancestors. You don't know that? You don't know that your DNA continues from the beginning of time, from the original tribes of people, and that you just a chip off of that, and everything that comes through you is another chip? So who are you to take a hatchet? And declare, or I can receive it for the enjoyment of it, but when it's going to become a responsibility, no, I don't want to be bothered. I don't like you like that. I know you. Dude should have just gave you your $13, did his due, and told you to scat. Now this piece brother Amari, I don't know if this is going to be allowed, so we ain't going to talk about it ain't music, it's conversation. But I'm sure these creatures probably copyrighted. Now these are some females, the so-called baby producers age group, somewhere at some type of conference under the title Bad BITCHS's. Just look at all of those people. Those are children producers. Look at them. This is what you've come. Now, I hope they let you use it. We ain't trying to make no money. That's why we ain't using the voice. But some of them gonna say they might not let us use it because we using the boo-boo. No, this is what you look like. That mess on your hair hanging on the ground. What happens when it rains? What happens when you go to the toilet? You ain't taking time to roll it up. You just done become nasty. Look at how you look. Look, and you supposed to have a child, and you think it's something to be calling yourself a bad BITCH, and you think for a minute? All right, get off of this, man, before I throw this thing up there and knock this thing off. But that's what they're on. I wanted you to see it, because it's just more and more. As far as you can see see. There they are. Not talking about how to raise children, not talking about how to get education, none of that. Just how to be wretched, how to be filthy, how to be hoes, how to be bitchs's. And then you talking about respect, you talking about control. No, you need some control because these are the breeders of today. These are the ones that reproducing these killers and carjackers. Those are the ones that's doing that. Those are the creatures that you preachers want to say, oh, it's their body. Yeah, I guess. Because all of the filth in that there, who would want it? But now, look, we have allowed this to become what's up, and don't nobody say nothing. So I'm saying a little bit. All right, brother, let's leave that alone. What a shame. What a shame. What a shame. They fake. These people go to the Bahamas. They go to Puerto Rico. They go to the Dominican. Dominican killing a lot of them. They go there to try to get their booties and their titties fixed. They didn't do too much of that in that thing I just saw there. Because they sure enough got some damn rabbit ears and some hound dog ears hanging off their... I don't know who they think they are. Why? What is this? This is what you own? This is what you about? Faking that you somebody? Faking that you got something? You're PPO thief. PPP thief. That's all you are. In society, this is what the future holds. This is what's producing the so-called, you can't even call them children. They producing themselves. Now, if you can find that piece where that girl going to the prom, coming out of that coffin, I want to tie that in. You know why? Because, once again, not understanding what is being done and not, I don't even want to say it, because I don't even know how to articulate who's responsible. Clearly, there is no one in charge. And because there is no one in charge, people are just doing all type of foolishness. But the preacher used to be responsible and should have been the one telling people what to and what not to do according to some type of sense. But now they have gotten to the point that people just do what they want to do. And as Omari keeps strolling, this is a very short piece, but I just want to present it, and I hope that this don't violate nobody, something or another. But is this girl going to the prom, and it don't, right there, Omari. Y'all help me understand this. Let's just watch this for a minute and tell me, this girl here is old enough to be somebody's mother in a couple of, well, now, really. Watch this. What is the point of this? Let them see it, Omari.
No way!
Going to the prom, you come up in a hearse, and you come out of a coffin. Why would somebody do this? What is the point of this? See how far we have slipped from common sense? Think, Negro, think. You have been bamboozled. Your daughter, your granddaughter think that's okay. Don't you have enough sense to know that if you land in a coffin, you are desecrating that whole concept that you got to come through? You drawing stuff to you, the vibration. You riding in a damn hearse, laying in a coffin to go to a prom, which is a life celebration, and you laying there. But ain't nobody told you that will leave a scar on your soul, will leave a scar on your life. That's why these are presentations, and I'm thankful that CAN TV allow us to use social issues, to teach, to educate, to empower, to enhance, to advocate. and tormented. It's a serious matter. Our people have lost their mind. Those are the things that you so-called talking about it's your body. You need to be talking about how to develop your brain, how to develop some type of dependency away from this slave master that you love so much, particularly if it's a Democrat. You need to break away from that. Because what's happening right now is that as a group of people, the Negro is slipping faster and worse than any other group in America. I cannot call y'all black because there are so many other people that are black from other countries that the white folk just call black and everybody think it's the Negro. It ain't the Negro. And we talked about that the last 2 weeks. All of that ain't the Negro. Some of that is other people, and they're the same complexion. But the Negro, back to what Minister Farrakhan said and what he was talking about. Negro, your ancestors expect you to do better. They expect you to go forward. They don't expect you to kill your children in the womb. They don't expect you to kill your children once they are here. They don't expect you to allow your children to kill each other and to kill older people and to kill babies. That is not what we was put here for. We was put here to be upright. We were. But now we'll become low down. And we got preachers that try to justify it. And politicians can't even speak of them because they ain't nothing but parasites. They don't represent nothing that uplifts and lead the people to higher ground. Run this piece, man. This is terrible.
Victim was sprayed with mace and then shot in the hand. CBS 2's Asal Razai is live near State and Elm Street.
Asal, thank you.
The unknown.
Well, since that one ran into that commercial, Amari gonna skip that. There's another one too, Amari, where this dude kills. Well, I'm gonna say he shoots the man. I ain't gonna say he killed him. Armed robber shoots man 3 times while the man laying on the ground pleading for his life because he won't give him his password. See? And then you got a damn administration here in the city of Chicago that don't see that as a priority. They don't. But those type of things are things that we gotta somehow or another get back on the agenda because it's out of hand. But it's like there is no urgency. It's just out of hand. How can this be allowed to continue? It just don't make sense. It's uncivilized. And that's what we should be dealing with. Not all of these distractions. Will Smith, David Chappelle, whatever the hell his name is, the comedian. That's what you own? Females going somewhere, having a convention or whatever, contest to see who's the most wretched, B-I-T-C-H. That's what you own? Come on, y'all. All right, brothers, let's see this reality.
Tanya Terrell, the alderman here in the 2nd Ward, tells us that the victim is in his 20s here at Webster and Wayne, so cameras are providing some very good leads.
Situation here, I don't know what's happening with
well,
that.
Tanya and Terrell, the alderman here.
That's a piece.
The 2nd
Long
Ward
story
tells us
short.
that the victim is in his 20s. He's in critical condition at Illinois Masonic Hospital, and authorities have not been able to identify him yet because his wallet was in the backpack that was stolen. Now, police returned to the corner of Webster and Wayne this morning in the Lincoln Park neighborhood to collect a plastic bag full of items from a nearby convenience store that the victim dropped during this heinous robbery and shooting that happened just after 3 o'clock this morning. Alderman Brian Hopkins tells us the victim was walking down Wayne with that bag in hand when a white sedan with 2 men inside stalked him. One man hid around the corner waiting for the victim to walk by, then demanded his belongings. At one point, there's a struggle and the victim was shot 3 times, twice in the back and once in the head with a graze wound. One neighbor who is terrified and does not want to be identified tells me she heard the shots, and then her husband and another neighbor ran outside to help the critically injured man.
My husband and the man were just telling him, please stay with us, you know. And then the cops came and took him right away. You could tell he was a young boy.
Just minutes before this armed robbery, there was another one near Fullerton and Clifton. According to an alert sent out by DePaul University, the victim was a student who was robbed but wasn't hurt. The alert also describes a white sedan involved where one man gets out to do the robbery. Alderman Hopkins says it appears the two incidents are linked and that the suspects were driving around the neighborhood looking for victims walking alone to rob them.
We're watching our city decline into criminal lawlessness. You know, there literally is not a neighborhood in Chicago that is immune from this now. It happens everywhere. It can happen at any time, and it's just terrifying to people. This has to stop.
The alderman says there is a lot of public and private surveillance video that detectives are looking at as we speak, and he says police already know that the two suspects left the neighborhood immediately after the incident here at Webster and Wayne, so cameras are providing some very good leads.
Now, while we looking at this, Mari, while I'm commenting on that, there's another piece that says Chicago police presence heavy downtown. Why is this connected? It's connected because now downtown, so-called white areas, man, they catching it. You know what I'm saying? They catching it. And my question is, why are they allowing this administration to stay in place? Why haven't someone started a impeachment? You understand me? Why haven't they started it? They did it on, what's his name, Rahm Emanuel, whatever they call it. Why haven't someone started something? Because another year of things being as they are, getting worse and worse, why are you sitting here allowing somebody to ride out the clock when things are so far out of hand? Why? Why? You all act like this has to be. It don't have to be like this. It really don't. It's like this because you have a system in place that is not material for the job. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But that's what you get when you let wannabes and pop-ups get into these races and get in these positions. We as citizens shouldn't have to live in fear everywhere. Coming here this morning, you know, I realize I'm a senior citizen, but sometimes I just gotta be who I am. I come to a stop sign, dude running like he gonna keep going, so I yield. Then get behind me, speeding on my bumper. So, you know, I mean, dude, I'm not the one. So I snatch to the side so he can get by. And then he's shocked. He don't know what the hell to do. So he get street and he make a turn to get out of the way. You right, dude. But all I really was dealing with was letting him have the street. But he didn't know. And it was dangerous for me to do that. And I wasn't intending to create, but I was ready for whatever he brought. Dude, get off my bumper, or either we gonna deal with this here. Now some of y'all say he could have had a gun, he could have all of that. He could have. And I didn't have one, not one like that. But I do walk around with a belief that God will stand with a man or a woman. And I know many men and women have died under COVID, under guns, and everything. But we got to stop being scared of these people. No, you cannot just run up on me. Because I'm subject to just stop and get killed. Now, I doubt it. You're gonna get just as killed to me. More so, because mine is better made than the one you driving. But to let people run around and just intimidate and bully us, we must stop. Like last week when the retired deputy sheriff shot this creature in the head, and then find that piece where these rascals, Amari, when we get through this piece, jumped off the bridge to death. That's what got to happen. They got to be running to death, not us running from them. Run this piece, brother.
I'm Nate Rogers in downtown Chicago. Second Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins told us most of the additional resources that we're going to see in downtown Chicago right now will at least be in the city's theater district. That after 2 stagehands were shot over the weekend. But throughout the loop, whether traveling on Michigan Avenue or in River North, folks will see a heightened police presence moving forward. Officers today we're seeing patrolling various areas on foot and bicycle. This all in efforts to decrease crime downtown so far this year, specifically in the Loop. Carjackings have doubled. Robberies and aggravated assaults are reportedly up as well compared to stats last year. Folks we spoke to today had mixed reaction about the increased police patrols here.
I think it will serve as a deterrent if people see it's more enforced. I think people will think twice before they engage in any kind of violence.
I just feel like there is lack of presence in this west, south side. I feel like they need more police there. Not so much here.
Now, Chicago police have not made it clear just yet how many officers will be deployed here in downtown Chicago, again, to help combat some of the crime here. We do know that the Cook County Sheriff deputies as well as Illinois State Police are partnering in this effort. We're live downtown. Nate Rogers, Fox 32 Chicago.
Yeah, I know they are. And I said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it. What Dart and them white folks trying to do is figure out how to get a white candidate that's electable. And if Dart can go down there and the state police can go down there, I'm down there talking about white folks areas, and they can stop this foolishness, then they can sell Dart for another white candidate. Because that other one, the congressman, he basically, from what I understand, he's bagged up. Duncan bagged up. You know what I mean? People really don't want to be bothered, I don't think, with all these people running. They want candidates that can win. Because what they don't want to do is take a chance of 4 more years of this. Because like the man said, Chicago will be worse than New Jack City. It will. It'll be worse than Detroit was. It'll be worse than anything that's been. Because you sitting here and you allowing it to just be somebody's personal little thing. That's ridiculous. No, you can't let it be like that. Can't let people that don't know what they're doing keep doing what's hurting everybody else. So I'm sure that the sheriff department and the state, they're going to get a handle on these areas downtown. They are. And they're going to prove that it don't have to be like that. And then they're going to come and they're going to, galvanize enough people to vote and bring about a change. And I tell you, I ain't that particular about voting for another black, nor Hispanic, no time soon. Because things are too polarized under those people. I'm telling you. Just get you a white man, and everybody know they role in their place with white men. But when you got this type of situation you got here, I don't know. It's just, who got time for this? Ain't nobody got time. Well, it's black. Don't give a damn about you being black. People getting blacked out. You should be concerned about that. But you ain't. Run this piece, man. And we're going to be getting out of here in a few minutes, quiet as kept. Now, I looked at a news report with this, and I was looking at it, but right then it didn't come up, so I don't know, maybe they took it down. So I'm going to just have to tell you about it. But that was the one we were talking about tomorrow, where them boys jumped off of that bridge out there and into the river. I think they might have caught a couple of them, but these dudes, they carjacked somebody, and then they ran all the way almost to Indiana. They ran out there, and these two creatures jumped off a bridge about 200 feet into a river, and they died. Then I heard people trying to talk about, po' boys, and how they po' boys. They chose to do that. You know what I mean? What they thought they were gonna fly? What did they think? They jumped into the river, and the river took them. That's justice. Now the other ones that they didn't, the river did. Yeah. Next, let it be that piece with can CTA become a political issue? That's gonna be after this little statement here. Now, one of the things we got to understand is this here. These criminals out here, and we might get to this piece about this 15-year-old girl and these other couple that took off this news or this TV personality. These are things that are happening that are being excused. We gotta stop giving excuses for this criminality. We do. And when nature, the river, helps do what the police won't do and what the state's attorney won't do, then we need to thank the river for helping to take them off the street. This piece, man, let's see what we got here.
Security guards following Chicago police say they will work more closely with the CTA's unarmed security guards following a violent weekend on the transit system. 3 knife attacks in less than 24 hours. A man was stabbed and pushed onto the tracks Saturday night at the Cicero Green Line stop. Another man stabbed on a Blue Line train in Wicker Park. And 3 men were attacked by a man with a knife on the Orange Line Sunday morning. So far, no arrests. Safety on the CTA taking a front row seat in Chicago's mayoral race.
Yeah, one candidate is demanding increased security. CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozlov is live for us tonight. And Dana, in the meantime, the mayor is acknowledging they need to do more.
She is, Joe and Erica, but Mayor Lori Lightfoot also says CTA crime is not a political issue, but one of her mayoral opponents is definitely making it one.
The CTA is a lifeblood of the city. Whether it's the bus lines, whether it's the train lines, we've got to do a better job.
A concession from Chicago's mayor that the recent rash of violence on CTA property is a real concern. One attack, a stabbing, took place over the weekend on the Green Line Cicero platform. That one of a half a dozen violent CTA attacks in the last week alone. Chicago TV host Will Klinger was one of the victims.
I think they could use some more personnel, both on the trains and on the platforms, frankly.
Klinger isn't the only one expressing concerns about the need for more security on the CTA. Mayoral candidate Dr. Willie Wilson is too.
I do, however, believe that it should be transport police and armed police on the train.
Wilson made that statement outside a CTA stop on what can arguably be described as a campaign stump. Lightfoot says there's urgent talk about bringing more security resources to trains and buses.
I was in multiple conversations over the weekend with the superintendent, with Dorval Carter, the president of the CTA. There's got to be better communication and collaboration there.
But in the meantime, is the mayor concerned CTA safety will be a major election issue?
It's not about the politics. It's about making sure people are safe.
CTA employees and their union leaders have expressed increasing concerns about employee safety, especially over the past couple of years. And as you know, unions can greatly influence voter turnout and voter choice in almost any election. I'm live in River North. Dana Kozlov, CBS 2 News. Erica?
All right. Dana, thank you.
Now, Mara, there's a piece there that says 15-year-old girl 15 among 2 charged with that. That fits into the dude that was in the hospital. Now, maybe part of the reason they have found her so quick is because that white man who was a high visibility person as relates to his job, and they found her. But the thing we have to understand, they trying to present it like, her age, should matter. Her age shouldn't matter. Now it'll be the other direction, I would imagine, because that's something that just recently, her age should not matter. 15, I wouldn't care if she was 51. It don't matter. Treat her like an adult. But the problem is, they ain't doing that. Oh, that's too far, Mara. That stuff there you showing now, all of that 3-4 weeks ago. So this, what we looking back is some things here. And I think what we look at is this. Some of the things that are happening is, that one right there, Amara. No, that's another one.
Keep it real.
But there's a couple of them. This is a girl that's charged with 4 carjackings. The other one is the girl was with a couple of dudes, and they ripped off that man. But it really don't matter. The point is, regardless of the age of the criminal, take the criminal off the street for a long time.
Arrested and charged in 4 separate carjacking incidents. She's charged with felonies for crimes on February 18th, 19th, 21st, and then on March 24th. The charges include use of a firearm. The 16-year-old is also charged with unlawfully restraining a 7-year-old girl during an incident on February 27th.
We're going to get off of that because it's hard. You see how Lightfoot sit there? I mean, she think everything is a joke. She really do. She was fighting hard to hold back that little smirk laugh that she likes to deal with. Anything to dealing with Willie Wilson, for her, it's a joke. Seem like. I don't know what she's thinking, what she feels. But the fact is, it is a political issue. It is. To those that have to ride CTA, that's a political issue. But for her, it ain't that. It's just she gonna do what she gonna do. The casino coming and woo, there it is. And that's supposed to be all the people gonna be thinking about. So she do a little something here and a little something there, and she know how Negroes are. Give them a chicken wing and a drumstick, and they'll run around thinking that something is really happening that they have reason to celebrate. But no, it's not. Don't fall for it. You need a change. You do. You could have had one, but that one was just too arrogant, and so you didn't. But it was a seasoned politician. Now, you can't let it continue just because it said, I want to do 2 terms. No, 2 terms, it'll be damn near like COVID. COVID done killed over 1 million people over here. Yeah, how many people got to die in Chicago before you get a change?
Which should have been a normal day.
All right, brother, run that.
On the afternoon of March 3rd, which should have been a normal day, turned into chaos for a Cricket Mobile employee in the 6800 block of Fry Road.
I got everybody into the back area and protected them.
What Rodriguez protected them from was this shooting captured by a store surveillance system. A red car is seen pulling into the parking lot, and 2 individuals approach it. While the ensuing moments are out of frame, what you see next is clear. Someone points a gun in the direction of the car before being run over seconds later. According to investigators, the car was being driven by 18-year-old Alex Gomez. His 16-year-old brother, Byron, was shot in the head and died at the hospital 2 days later.
He was a great kid who would always listen. He had a lot of plans for his future with his life.
The person who pulled the trigger, confirmed by the Harris County Sheriff's Office to be just 13 years old, is currently in custody. Gomez says investigators tell him the teenager suspected of killing his son is currently being held on charges unrelated to the shooting. He hopes those charges will soon come.
I'm really hoping for this guy to stay in jail because he's a danger.
The Harris County District Attorney's Office said they are aware of the case, but couldn't comment any further due to the suspect's status as a juvenile. The Sheriff's Office says they expect murder charges to follow, but that can take longer when it involves a minor.
I don't want people to go through the pain that I'm going through, and so I really want the DA's office to do their best.
In Northwest Harris County, Chaz Miller, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Now, we use that because it's one of the first things everybody wants to say now, which is such a cop-out.
Verizon
It's happening everywhere. Yeah, it is happening everywhere. And it's happening everywhere because you got a president or administration that's weak. Trump wasn't no better. He didn't do nothing. Before he ran, he talking about how he was gonna clean up the urban areas. Now he got distracted into some other stuff. But Biden, I'm really disappointed in Biden and this, what's her name, Harris, because I figured they would have had a stronger presence as it relates to determining what should happen as it relates to safety in this country. But instead, Biden got sidetracked, and he thinks that immigrants are more important than veterans and Negroes until, he's useless. So when you talk about it's happening all over the place, yes, it's happening all over the place because there's no leadership in place, locally or nationally. Everything seems to be under the same instructions. Let the criminals have their way. And we'll just say it's happening everywhere. No, you need a change. Now, how are they going to get to a change that benefit the regular citizens and give confidence back to the citizens? I don't know. But I do know this, that what we got now is really, should be unacceptable. Now, there's a piece you're going to see here, Brother Amari, where it says, Ukrainian children in U.S. custody find unlikely adoption. That's in the other direction, upward. Roll it down and you'll see it. It's a piece that was put up a day or so ago. I find this interesting. The reason I want to show this piece is that this is a what looked to be like a Negro woman that it ain't down there, Amara, it's the other direction. She's adopting a Ukrainian child. And I just want to throw that out there. I ain't got a whole lot to say about it, but I just want to throw it out there that, that's good. She's adopting a Ukrainian child, and that ain't bad. But I just wonder what's her point? What was she trying to do in doing this, and is it authentic? Right there. Let's see. I hope that's, y'all help me understand this. All these black kids, and she don't have to adopt no black kid. I'm just saying. I don't know what's happening with this slave female, boy. This slave female, this creature is just too far out of hand. No, and I am not slamming no Negro women. No, I am not. I am talking about a mentality that somehow, here lately, is just being pushed up. That's cool.
Is launching a new program to allow U.S. citizens and groups to financially sponsor Ukrainians who are displaced by the war. Now, the Ukrainians selected under the new program will be granted what's called humanitarian parole, and that's going to allow them to bypass the visa and refugee programs, which can take years to complete. CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez joins me now. Camilo, thanks for being here. So let's talk about this program. Who's eligible to come to the U.S. and what does this particular process look like?
Hi, Carter. This is the first concrete policy that the U.S. government has announced so far to help achieve President Biden's goal of welcoming up to 100,000 Ukrainians displaced by the war in their homeland. The process initially starts with U.S. citizens or groups identifying Ukrainians overseas whom they wish to sponsor, and then these groups or individuals file sponsorship applications. The Department of Homeland Security, Carter, then is tasked with determining whether these prospective sponsors have the financial means to support displaced Ukrainians. Eligible Ukrainians who are selected for this program are then allowed to travel to the U.S. directly, and they enter the U.S. under a process known as humanitarian parole, which will allow them to live and work here for up to 2 years. These Ukrainians will have to undergo security screenings and vaccination against communicable diseases like the coronavirus before entering the U.S., and the program is set to open up for applications next week on April 25th.
So over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of Ukrainians trying to get into the U.S. from the U.S.-Mexico border. The administration says this program is being announced in part to discourage that. What more can you tell us about it?
Yeah, thousands of Ukrainians, Carter, have been traveling to Mexico, often by taking multiple flights from Europe to Mexico to try to reach the U.S. border, where officials have been instructed to exempt Ukrainians from the Title 42 border restrictions and to process them and allow them to enter the country. In March alone, Carter, more than 3,000 Ukrainians were processed along the U.S.-Mexico border. That is an unprecedented number and an 1,100% increase from February. We've never seen so many Ukrainians come to the U.S.-Mexico border. They were coming here, Carter, to the U.S.-Mexico border because they need visas to come to the U.S. directly, and many of them are either ineligible for these visas or they can't seem to be able to obtain them because of massive backlog of applications at U.S. consulates overseas. So the U.S. hopes that through this sponsorship program, it will discourage Ukrainians from going on this journey to Mexico and will actually funnel these people through this program. And they announced today as well, Carter, that starting on Monday, when this sponsorship program will open for applications, they will no longer process and admit Ukrainians who lack visas at the U.S.-Mexico border. So there will be a policy change at the border as well.
So some immigrants' rights groups are raising concerns that Ukrainians are essentially getting preferential treatment here over refugees from, say, South and Central America. Can you see a situation where this type of program would be extended to them as well?
Yeah, advocates have certainly raised concerns about a double standard in the way the U.S. is enforcing not just refugee policy, but border policy. And they point to the fact that Ukrainians have been allowed to enter the country despite these Title 42 restrictions still blocking many asylum seekers and migrants from seeking asylum here in the U.S. during the pandemic. They've also pointed to the fact that there has not been a similar program created for Afghan evacuees who have been submitting tens of thousands of parole requests to the U.S. government. However, the Biden administration did indicate earlier this year, Carter, that it intends to establish a broader private sponsorship program later this year that will allow Americans to help sponsor refugees from different countries across the globe. So I think this smaller private sponsorship program can help the government build up that capacity for this broader initiative that we could see later this year. And this could also help the U.S. increase refugee admissions because during the current fiscal year, the Biden administration, Carter, set out to resettle up to 125,000 refugees, but 6 months in, fewer than 9,000 refugees have been resettled because of the impact that the coronavirus pandemic had on the resettlement system, as well as the impact that numerous Trump-era restrictions had on this system.
Some really good details there. CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez.
Well, I think that young man did an excellent job. He made some things clear. See what I'm saying? I ain't just out here talking to be negative, if that's what you want to call it, to be pessimistic. No, that ain't what it is. I'm trying to give you information that you probably might miss. And I know these presentations are long. And I know that, they might not be entertaining. They're not full of, rap and naked women and all of that. So it's hard because they're trying to help you get somewhere. But that's information you should know. You should know that. See, I'm not mad at the Ukrainians or nobody else. But I just want you to see clearly that that war is different than anything since World War II. All these other wars, it's been clear. Those were darker skinned people. Although America was ahead of a lot of those wars, created those wars, but the people that they let come over here did not get treatment like the people they let from Ukraine get. And the people from Ukraine, I'm trying to figure out what is America getting from this? I know they got the opium from some of those other places. I know they got resources and oil from other places. What are they getting out of this other than white Anglo-Saxon skin? Till next week, Alafia, peace, and good health.